Hi, this is Professor Huang. Today I will explain some terminology in Azuma diseases. I'm using a paper uh, by Professor Andra Lozano. Uh, he's a Spanish-Canadian neurosurgeon and a scientist known for his work in deep brain stimulation. So this is basically what we're doing. We're using this deep brain stimulation to cure Azuma diseases or prevent it becomes worse. He works heavily on this MR guided ultrasonic. As you know, you can use an ultrasound to wash your dish. So the physics is very similar. You can wash your dish, you can wash your brain too. That's the fundamental physics. But we are not washing your brain. We're using magnetic field, much uh, kind of less aggressive. We're not brainwashed. He's worked for University of Toronto. There are two universities in Canada really focus on the brain stuff heavily, heavily. There are other universities does that too, but the U of T and Montreal, McGill University in Montreal, these two are really heavily into it. So I'm gonna take a look at his paper. So that's his citation. Uh, Professor M has lots of papers. His citation rate is really high. You see, it's like basically around 10,000. We work with Professor Cai from the Chinese lady from MI, MIT. She has similar citation. And then we also work with Professor Lipton from UCSD because I used to co-supervise PhD at the UCSD. That's sort of like my home university, just like I stay with Corte University. Before I stay with the UCSD. So let's take a deep look into this paper. It talks about neuromodulation connectivity for Azuma diseases. And then they did a systematic review, meta-analysis, if invasive and non-invasive techniques. Like Elon Musk is doing this brain-computer interface. Whatever he is doing is invasive, so you need to poke a hole, drill a hole in your brain uh, to insert it some chips. We don't. We do non-invasive. We're just using the TMR sensor or magnetic speaker uh, placed around your brain, trying to um, pick the brain wave and also insert brain burst into the brain to either make the blood circulate better uh, for your brain to get more oxygen or to slow down the degenerative process of the neuron because when a neuron gets old, it's like an older car. It's kind of getting rusted, so we need using the magnetic field to polish it somehow. So the one terminology people are using to call it deep brain stimulation. When we say deep brain stimulation, usually means we are doing stimulation targeting the deep part of the brain because brain has many layers, more layers than like the 5G course I'm teaching, more than 7 layers. And the inside one we call it deep. And AD means Azuma diseases. This one is a big diseases. It's affecting people now. I think the scientists already did some study. Chat GPT will disable your brain, makes you get Alzheimer's diseases early. So when more and more Chat GPT being used, more and more people will get the Alzheimer's diseases. Um, Dementia affects 55 million people worldwide. This is a 2020. They wrote this paper 2020. Now it's even more, especially after we're using ChatGPT, it will double. Another tool or terminology we bump into very often is called a functional MRI. MRI is basically imaging, magnetic resonant imaging to check the brain or check the bone, uh, etc. And a typical MRI maybe takes 10 minutes to shot it. But the fMRI, this is functional. Uh, it takes usually 1 hour to complete it. Normally, people won't do that. Uh, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it's done. Basically, MRI is like taking a picture, 3D picture. But fMRI, it's more than picture. It's basically like recording the video for almost 1 hour. Why? Because fMRI is trying to find out how the blood circulating in your brain. Say if you have a brain tumor, then the blood won't circulate properly. So this is a fMRI used to, and normally we just using the MRI, and our machine doesn't do that. We only measure the brain wave. So our machine can be made much cheaper than those fMRI or MRI. Usually costs like a many million dollars. And the professor is with U of T, and this paper is also work with people from Japan, Japanese. Yes, this is a Kanagawa, Japan. I picked this paper because it has a wide global coverage. So basically, the data or study in the paper applies to Asian people, Japan's in Asia, and the European people, Estonia is in Europe, and then South Florida, where Trump stays. That's America, so it covers more region. The more region you cover, obviously, the conclusion will be more uh, useful or representative. When we talking about the stimulation, there are two school or two method. One method is called RTMS, repetitive transcranial magnetic stimulation. So that's what we are doing now, except we don't use in very high Tesla. We're using a lower Tesla, 10 times lower than what a hospital does. However, we will do 10 times more times. Normally, when you go to hospital, they do this RTMS, say 3 minutes, done. You get off. Like some people get the depression, young people wanna commit suicide. You go to UCSD hospital, 3 minutes short of 5 Tesla magnetic into the brain, you feel happy, and then you say, okay, I'm not gonna suicide today. Let's worry about tomorrow. So, however, for us, we using less strands, how would do longer time. So instead of a short 3 minutes, we shot 30 minutes. And we end up with the same amount of energy being pushed into the brain. So that's the play we do. The other side of stimulation is instead of using magnetic, we're using electrical or direct current, DC, very much like we do this transmitter in the lab. So make a DC, strong DC power source and then connected the coil and then we send it. And so it's called a TDCS, transcranial direct current stimulation. So these two method has its each pro and a cons. I pick magnetic because the magnetic doesn't need take off your hat or it doesn't need to shave your hair. Doesn't need to put the electric conductive gel onto your head. Why when you do TDCS, you need to make sure you wash your hair. You cut your hair or you put the gel on your head. With magnetic, no actual effort. And also, magnetic can penetrate more into the bone. The electric usually doesn't go through the bone. It goes through the skin, doesn't go through the fat. This is the main reason I pick magnetic. I'm not saying the electrical is not working. Uh, Today, there are lots of people like who cannot sleep in the night. They using this electrical one to help go into sleep easily. This is another terminology we normally using called a mini mental state examination, MMSE. These are for the a test to check if somebody is mental sick or not, or whether Alzheimer's diseases or not. But MMSE applies to all kind of brain-related test. It like if you have any brain-related problem, uh, we use an MMSE for the Alzheimer's diseases. Usually using another test called a MOCA, which part of you already get the certificate, MOCA certificate. So that one is more focused on Alzheimer's diseases. MMSE is more general. It's like you go TOEFL test, GRE test, but the MOCA is very specific for the Alzheimer's diseases. So I suggest if you are really interested in this project, go get the MOCA certificate. And here's another terminology. It's called a DLPFC. It's called dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. So this is one of the cortex controls people's emotion. And because the Alzheimer's disease is also related to the mental status or emotion as well. That's why it's related. There's total six regions in the brain that's related to Alzheimer's diseases. So these are MRI. I was talking about 3 Tesla MRI. You take a picture, a 3D picture, or you take a 3D video to watch how the heart beat, how much blood has been pumped into the brain, which section of brain there. The brain has more than 100 sections. Each section responds for each tasks you perform. Based on the blood circulation, we will observe these oscillation called a low frequency oscillation in blood oxygen level dependent. So by MRI video, we are able to see these kind of oscillation. So zero point 0.1 hertz means 10 seconds. This is why our machine uh, do FFT on 20 second, 20 second. The lowest is 0.01 means 100 second. So our machine do the evaluation for 40 second, almost there. So 100 second, 40 for 40 second, almost there. And this paper summarized lots of lab research, and these are lab research image. So these are brain. The red one means the function, the brain of function, they are overlap, or which means the neural network, they are densely connected. The yellow one is even more connected. So more overlap, more connected. As you can see, the yellow one is basically in the middle of the brain. So the middle brain is more connected. The side of brain are less connected because the like the big boss is sitting in the middle. Obviously, it has to be informed, and I will explain when we make this helmet why we put the specific Chinese acupuncture point hole on the helmet. So this B is the states when your brain is in daydreaming mode. So when the brain is in daydreaming mode, so these four spots are active, are very active. And these are the brain in a state where you are really clear, like you are sitting in final exam. Your brain are highly active. It's doing something. So these four spots are very active. The middle one is in transition period, like you are half daydreaming, half focused on doing something. So this is in between. So that's if when one day we get the helmet from China, you will see the holes on the helmet. We pick it just based these U of T professors' findings in 22. The most important part, there's six part, as I say, there's six part, like left, right, front, back. Most important is this yellow part, hippocampus. This yellow part, uh, it when it's lack of a lithium, the element called a lithium, the right exact element of making this a lithium battery. So when this hippocampus is lacking of a lithium, then Alzheimer's diseases happen. It's like the battery, the lithium battery in the brain is out of power. You need to recharge it. How we recharge it? We put a magnetic field into it to recharge lithium battery inside the brain because the brain operates in the same way as the battery. It's a chemical. There are two connections in the brain. One is electrical connection through these membranes of the neuron cell. The other one is the chemical, like a calcium, lithium. connections between the cells. And the Chinese acupuncture point has the highest concentration of calcium. The calcium is a working horse for the entire brain, and the lithium is a working horse for the specific hippocampus or the middle part or the boss of the brain. Okay, these are the references takes. I will send this paper to you, and it's published in Nature. Let me know if you have any questions. It's not too complicated because it's a neural network. I know everybody interested in neural network AI. It's the same thing. Your brain is biggest, or 100 or 10,000 smart than the AI because it has more heterogeneous elements. AI has a homogeneous. Okay, I'll stop here. Thank you.